What's up guys, it's Punchy, and today we got something pretty huge to talk about for Deepwoken, something that could set a new standard for hybrid legendary weapons moving forward into the future. If you missed it, the latest update introduced the very first hybrid legendary, the Red Death Spear. Now, before we get into the details, I'll say this, the weapon is definitely strong. It's got weird stats that barely fit into any build, but regardless, it's solid overall. So, that being said, it leans more into being consistently reliable rather than shaking up how people play. It's not necessarily pushing new mechanics or new strategies, which I think downgrades the weapon, but you know, it's good. Sometimes a strong weapon can be cool, but for legendaries, it's not really innovative in any way. Anyway, let's dive right into the breakdown, though I'll be real, there's not a whole lot to dive into. We have the Red Death, a weapon that fuses Shadowcast and Bloodrend. Now think about that, with both of these attunements, what do you think that this weapon does? Everything from Bloodrend drains a lot of blood, poisons enemies, and of course it's gotta have bleed damage. Now for basic Shadowcast status, what does that do? Well, it just steals ether and procs shadow talents, which can blind or hold people still. Now, when designing a mix of these two elements, what is the most rudimentary, most simple, most streamlined, basic option imaginable? Well, we just give it both. So, I'm sad to say it, but this weapon's only unique attribute is that it can deal both status effects at the same exact time. So, there's no thinking about what status we want to use, no swapping, no thought involved, it just does both. This is extremely disappointing for me since it's a legendary hybrid weapon that just has zero potential. Everything about the Red Death happens with instant payoff, which really isn't how blood works with its resource-based gameplay. It's a blood weapon that does blood damage with an added ether stealing bonus, and they called it a day. So anyway, the visual design for this weapon is pretty cool and I like what it does. Besides that, the M1 attacks are fairly normal and deal bleed damage, meaning it doesn't get any boost from stuff like Speed Demon. Now, the critical by itself is a multi-hitting barrage with solid range, pressure, posture, and damage. You can do a lot here by just throwing this out whenever, and it's basically unpunishable at mid-range. I'd say if you're shooting this at a distance, realistically there's nothing they can do about it besides defend. Anyway, it's easy to hide with other animations and giant particle effects, and I think it can catch people off guard. But revolving back to the topic at hand, I am honestly so disappointed that this weapon doesn't offer anything dynamic. Instead of forcing players to choose which status they want to use or add potential interactions into fights, the Red Death plays it safe and simple, but it's also just ridiculously overpowered. So Shadowcast status will never be weak, and adding on top, you know, it's a bit insane and basic. The critical itself doesn't have setup, it doesn't really work in combos, and it doesn't set up anything either. Once you use the critical, it does its damage and it does its status, and then goes back on cooldown. I think the Red Death could have offered insane new gameplay, but for right now, it's the first hybrid legendary weapon that just plays it safe and still manages to be overpowered. So anyway, leave your thoughts down below, because maybe I'm rambling, let me know. Thank you so much to all of my supporters and members for helping me out along the way. So if you want to join, feel free down below. Besides that, my own Discord for the news is going to be linked, the Apothecary Discord is down below, and my UGC Roblox group will all be linked down below. Thanks once again for helping me out, and please like and subscribe. Have a good one, it's punchin' time.